The results of being complacent by the ministers of God in Nigeria are one, apostasy. They become apostates and begin to live in style, and they then abandon their first love. Ministers of God, first love is their calling to soul winning, you know. But because of complacency, they abandon their first love. In Revelation 2:4, it says, "Nevertheless, I have somewhat against thee, because thou hast left thy first love." These mega pastors, so-called mega pastors, they no longer indulge themselves in the work of God. Their God becomes their belly. I know of these two mega pastors in Nigeria a couple of years ago. One of them lived in one of the best hotels in Nigeria, Sheraton, for 1 year, going to church, from church to hotel, from the hotel. He maintained a permanent suit for 1 year. Go to church, from the hotel, from church to hotel, evening services, Sunday service. He lived there, because the money coming from all nook and crannies was just too much. And I know another one too in this Lagos. He lived a couple of few years ago in the same Sheraton Hotel for 1 year with his wife and children. He maintained a permanent suit for 1 year, going to church from the evening services back, and the waitress and waiters were at their beck and call because the money is just too much. They became complacent and apostate, and therefore abandoned their first love for God, which is their calling for the work of God, for soul winning. They abandon it and begin to serve tables. The next thing is internal intrigues sets in. When a minister of God becomes complacent, immediately becomes apostate. Then he abandons his first love for God, which is the calling for soul winning. Then, because he's unspiritual, ungodly, living a debauched life, the next thing is internal intrigue sets in. Let's read it. Matthew 7:3-5. And why do you look at the speck in your brother's eye, but do not consider the plank in your own eye? Or how can you say to your brother, let me remove the speck from your eye, and look, a plank is in your own eye? Hypocrite, first remove the plank from your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. So, Dr. Ebedamina, what he's doing, I can say aspect of it is good. Some of what he's saying, corrections, some of them are good. But some are also bad. He also has a false doctrine, because he said that he had been part and parcel of them, and he has used the same method, extortive method, to grow his church. And now he has seen the light, as he said, and is now pointing those errors out. Calculated errors, intentional errors. But the way he's going about it is totally wrong. It's as good as the way Moses went about it to deliver the Jews from bondage under Pharaoh before God called him. You want to deliver the Jews from the hands of Pharaoh, good. But you started out by killing one of them. And they got to know, and they start looking for your life to kill. In Exodus 3, God called him and said, go there. You see, go and tell Pharaoh that I told you, God, I am that I am. Israel is my first son. Let them go to worship me. Peaceful, not start killing them. So the way Abel is attacking them is not the best thing. So internal intrigues set in because of being complacent. No message to give to their waiting flocks. Message that will bring folks closer to God. Open their eyes about the activities of yet to come Antichrist, the prelude of Antichrist playing out now. Such messages are not being taught. Imminent rapture are not being taught. You are talking of other things. So internal intrigues sets in, start to find for see speck of dust in your neighbor's eyes. Meanwhile, you have a timber in your own eye. You see an ant in your neighbor's eye, you have a camel in your own eye. Do you know how many dead ants will come out from a dead camel? So the final one is dichotomy, disunity, and unrest sets in the body of God, the body of Christ rather. Luke 11:17-18. But he, knowing their thoughts, said to them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and a house divided against a house falls. If Satan is also divided against himself, how will his kingdom stand? You see it? This is the state of the Church of God in Nigeria. The result is infighting, internal divisions, internal rivalries in the body of Christ. Second reason why there is division in the body of Christ is number one is complacency. Number two, a final one is no external existential threat against the Church of God in Nigeria. There is no external existential threat against the Church of God in Nigeria. You remember in Jerusalem, the Acts of the Apostles, the young church, that was just bettered in Jerusalem, explosions of oppressions, Herod and the leaders of the Jews wanted to nip the young church at the bud, to kill it. They were tightly united. Herod used sword to kill James. He arrested Peter, put him inside jail to be brought out the following day and killed like he did to James. But the church united, they fasted and prayed, did vigil, and it came out miraculously. They were united because there were external existential threat against the church. Again, the church that Paul set up in pagan Rome, all the Caesars of pagan Rome persecuted the church for 300 years to exterminate it. The Christians started hiding in catacombs, underground tunnels. Christians were fed to wild animals in colosseums. They were united. No internal dissension, no infighting. Even though there were some doctrinal dissensions, they forgot about it and faced the external threat. Until Constantine stopped the killing, he gave his life to God, Emperor Constantine, and he merged the traditions of pagan Rome with the church, and the killing stopped. No sooner than the killing stopped, internal dissension started in the church of God again. The church became fractionalized into two camps. One, those that accepted the merging of pagan practices with the church, the doctrines of God became polluted, and those who protested against them, that the pure doctrine of Christ or the apostle must be maintained. People like the Wycliffe, people like them, Martin Luther, Hus. So the Church of Rome again started fighting and labeled them Protestants, killing them again, so that they killed 6 million Christians, Protestants, because there were no external threats. Then when Muhammad came up, after 600 years, he came up and challenged the church. The church again forgot about their differences and united themselves together and faced the common threat of Islam. I don't want to go into history. You see, in Nigeria, during Buhari time, President Buhari, there was existential threat against the Church of God in Nigeria. Fulani terrorists, even right from Jonathan time, started burning churches. The famous one was in Gwagwalada Catholic Church. They bombed them, destroying churches, you know, kidnapping pastors and Christians. The church united themselves and faced the common external threats. They forgot their differences, their doctrinal differences, their hatred. They forgot it and faced the Fulani terrorists. The Fulani terrorists even wrote letters to some of these mega churches. And we all united, start praying and fasting until Buhari government eased out. You see, even before Buhari government eased out again, because of the ostentatious living of mega pastors, Buhari said he set up what they call the acronym called KAMA, a system whereby a minister from the government once in a year has to come and audit the accounts of the church. And FOB in America, a financial organization, bringing out the excess money they lodge in foreign banks. So the church united again and faced the government. One of the leading mega pastors in Nigeria went to meet Buhari himself in Asoro to discuss the issue. When he came back, the thing died a natural death because there was existential threat against their finances. But now, in Tinubu's time, there's relative peace around the Church of God in Nigeria. So where was a Bedamina during Buhari time? During Jonathan time, the same teachings that is bringing out now, he had it then. He had it then. Why didn't he come out and start correcting those things? These errors, or what he saw as errors. But he kept quiet because there was external existential threat. But now there's relative peace bringing out. Mind you, I'm not against what he's doing and I'm not for it. But the Bible says, let everything be done peacefully and in orderliness.